The Badgers start 2025 with a shutout win, but it wasn't without drama. A quarterback goes down, questions on the offensive line, and yet an absolutely dominant performance from Wisconsin's defense. Let's grade it all, break it all down, and see what week one really told us. I'm Rajiv. He's Justin. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bucky Report, your destination for all things Wisconsin Badgers. Authentic takes.
Oh my God.
Game analysis.
Touchdown Badgers! Ring one up!
And discussion from the fan perspective.
Woo-hoo!
Thanks for joining us and on Wisconsin.
Welcome to the Bucky Report. We are your hosts, Rajiv and Justin, back together on a Sunday evening to talk about all things Wisconsin Badgers. On today's show, we're breaking down everything we liked and didn't like from game one and handing out grades for every position group after Wisconsin's opening win over Miami of Ohio. We'll talk about the quarterback situation, the depth and dominance of the defense, and what stood out most in week one. Plus, we're rolling out our brand new segment, 3 and Out, where we give you one Badger take, one Big Ten take, and one national college football take. You can find our show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. If you like what we're doing, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. Appreciate all the support we've gotten for the show. Justin, happy weekend. Football's back. We've got a lot to talk about. How are you?
Great. And Wrexham finally got a win in the championship.
And
I know you don't care. I know none of you guys care, but I'm excited about it because it's been a frustrating first month.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, what I'll say is, yeah, I'm so excited that football's back. I have missed it so much. We got to see the lovely Alabama Crimson Tide prove that they are incredibly overrated and that Nick Saban is kind of actually a really big deal. So just saying.
Yeah. DeBoer is not Saban, as I texted my brother-in-law last night. That's like, it's just it's very telling. Alabama would have never played like that under Nick Saban. It's pretty spectacular. He's pretty amazing.
As I've said, there are very few coaches that can walk in front of a 5-star and say, I'm the boss here. I don't think DeBoer has that yet. Like, he doesn't have that level of aura, prestige, and Saban had it. Like, he can be like, I'm the greatest coach in college football history. Who the F do you think you are?
Yeah, he earned it. Badger and Bournemouth fans pretty happy because his Bournemouth Cherries beat my soccer team yesterday. But we don't want to talk about that. Quick programming notes before we get started. 3 big things. We started that this past week. Great show. We'll do it again next week for Middle Tennessee State. And I started a new show on Friday night, Saturday Locks. It's 4 picks that I do every week. I'm 3-0. 3-0 in the week, about to be 4-0. If Miami can cover the spread against Notre Dame in a little bit, I'll be 4-0. Yeah, big week.
Who do you think wins that game outright?
Miami, 100%. Okay. They have Carson Beck. People forget about Carson Beck is their quarterback. Notre Dame has an unproven guy. Come on.
He had terrible receivers last year, which is part of it.
Yeah, so for me, so if you like betting, go check out Saturday Locks. I'm putting it out every Friday, 10, 15-minute video, very short, just going over my 4 big picks of the week and 3-0 so far. Yeah, Badger Bournemouth don't want to gloat, but yeah, calm it down, Kevin. Calm it down. Okay, let's get into it. Lots to talk about. So first segment, Justin, 3 and Out, brand new segment. We're going to do a Badger take, a Big Ten take, and a national take. I'm going to go first, and then you chime in here. My Badger take is everybody should just relax. Okay. Like I think ultimately, like I've rewatched the games. I've watched the all 22. I've just tried to soak up as much as I can. And I feel like, you know what? We're very happy that Billy is healthy. We'll get into that a little bit, of course, but he is not healthy, but he's not going to be gone for the season.
He's not out for the year.
He's not out for the year. So that's a good thing. The defense looked awesome. And I just think for me, it's just like everyone, I'm taking the sense of I'm going to calm down and just wait for week 2. We'll see what happens. There's some good things, there's some bad things, but that's that. The Big Ten take, I don't know if anyone saw, probably not, but the Rutgers game randomly on the other night. I forgot who they were playing, but that's not beside the point. They were up 3, and I think a lot of coaches don't do this. And I love it. Up 3 in field goal range, 2 minutes to go. Okay, they're driving. They're the 30-yard line, and it's 4th and 7. They can kick the field goal and go up 6, or they can go for it on fourth down and risk not scoring, of course, and not getting it. You turn the ball over. But you're still up 3 when you turn the ball over. The opposing team is not going to go down there, generally speaking, and really play for a touchdown. They're going to play for a field goal. The worst you're going to do is tie.
Yeah.
Versus if you go up 6, you're giving the other team the extra down. You're putting the ball in the quarterback's hands, and you're going out there to win it. I love Greg Schiano's call. That's my Big Ten take. I think more coaches should do that. Greg Schiano, kudos. National take, Arch Manning. He's not there yet. Okay. Like they were never going to win in Ohio State. It was why it was a lock of the week for me. I think Arch Manning's going to be really good, but I think Texas was anointed very early. He's never really played. He's going to take some time to bed into this position. They're still good. Ohio State's better.
Yeah. I think as far as our take, I will say, I agree with you. I think people need to relax. I think you need to always view with a new offense that first game is going to be a feeling out process for everybody, and understand that the whole season is going to be a season of growth, but you need to stack growth each week. It cannot be the same this next week. They need to look like they've taken what they learned that was wrong in the first week and move on from that and get better. As far as the Big Ten goes, Indiana, it ain't last year anymore. Sure seemed to struggle with Old Dominion.
I bet on that one too.
Quarterback had 170 yards and he needed like 30 plus attempts. Yeah, it's, I don't know, man. They ran for a lot of yards, but they struggled throwing it. So Indiana better get it together if they're going to be the Cignetti powerhouse that he keeps bringing up. As far as nationally, I think it's going to be a really interesting year in terms of who is going to be the actual contenders. I honestly think we look at it right now and say we have no clue who's going to be the top couple of teams at the end of the season.
As long as it's not Penn State.
Everyone showed flaws.
Please not Penn State.
I have a hard time believing it'll be them. There are plenty of teams that look strong, but I also think there are plenty of teams that look strong that weren't expected to be contenders. Is a lot of it. The top teams really didn't look great. Texas and Ohio State was a rock fight. You have some of these other games. I know we have some teams that just beat up on terrible teams. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah. All right, man, let's get into the game. Justin, you weren't on the reaction show the other night with Ryan and I on Locked On. So I just want to start with your sort of opening impressions. Like, just give me your breakdown of the game. What was kind of your big takeaways? Like, what are your thoughts overall?
My perspective was the defense looked incredible. The offense looks like it's what I kind of expected, which was a work in progress. I wanted us to come out and prove ourselves, but nothing would have shocked me. Like, it wasn't like I came into this assuming that things were going to be perfect week one. I would have liked us to make them look more ordinary. I'm going to be very curious to see how Miami's season, how their season goes. I think they play Rutgers next, don't they? So that'll be a really good measuring stick to see if they can potentially beat Rutgers. But it will be very interesting to see what they are and if we're just being hard on ourselves. And maybe they actually are a pretty good MAC team. And if that's the case, maybe struggling isn't necessarily the worst thing. Now, I do think there are some considerable areas that need to be really evaluated. Obviously, left tackle being number one on that list.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get all into that offensive line. Lots of stuff to break down there. Let's start with the big story, of course. Billy Edwards goes down in the second quarter, 6 of 13. Didn't play that much. What we know is what you've all probably already heard. It's not a season-ending injury. It is a sprain, and he is listed as week to week, basically. Mm-hmm. So that could mean could mean potentially Bama. It's not going to be next week. That's just silly. Yeah. Could mean Maryland. Could mean Michigan, because obviously we play Michigan, and that's several weeks away after a bye. That's probably the worst case scenario, is that he's ready for Michigan because of the bye week. Best case scenario, back for Bama. What was your thoughts about, obviously him going down was a killer, but do you think he should, I don't have Dev, he can't play next week. Do you want him to try to play for Bama, or is that a loss anyway? So why play him?
I don't think it's necessarily a loss after what we saw against Florida State.
Fair point.
I think anything's up for grabs in that. That game could be that could be a rock fight game too, because I'm not sure how good they actually are, especially if Ryan Williams is out. I look at this as you need him to be healthy. Like, I don't want him rushing back in just to play Bama. If that's the case, I think I would rather have him come back from Maryland and take 2 weeks. But if he can play for Alabama, I'd love to see it. I just don't want to rush it and affect potentially the rest of the season by having him get re-injured. I think that would be a worst case scenario. As much as I thought Danny was pretty solid in his first experience, there's a clear difference in terms of physical tools. I think Billy's got a much bigger arm. I felt he was more in command of things than Danny was at times. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, let's talk about Billy's performance. This has been a topic of conversation between me and Ryan. We disagree on this. I tweeted about this a little bit yesterday. I want to get your take on this. 6 of 13, had a pretty low PFF rating, low QBR. Obviously, under 50% completion percentage is never going to ever get you good ratings. That's obviously a fact. But he played a pretty short amount of time. What is your assessment of the Billy Edwards performance yesterday? I mean, I'm on one end, Ryan's on the other. Where do you land on this?
I thought he was fine. I don't want to bash him, but like the way I look at it is, I felt like they were kind of feeling things out to begin the game as a whole, and I think that they were kind of getting their bearings and trying to figure out how they wanted to attack Miami of Ohio in this game and what was going to be their best course of action. He honestly felt like he came out of the game right as they were starting to get their footing offensively. And it's like, okay, well, now that I feel like he's starting to heat up, now it's going to end. Some of the throws I felt like he was greatly affected by pressure. Both deep balls, I felt like he could feel the guy coming on the backside, and I think he rushed those. And that's got to end. Like, they've got to find a way to at least be solid on the line. But I do think that overall, I felt like he was more competent than O'Neal in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think Billy had a good game. I think he had a fine game. I think I am happy with what I saw out of him, and I'm not concerned about his ability. Health, that's a different situation. But his ability as a quarterback, from what I saw yesterday, I thought it was fine. He had 6 completions. Yes, I understand that that's not a ton. He had the 2 that absolutely, one of them, I mean, the PI calls, like they 2 pass interference calls that did not get called. They weren't the greatest throws, but they were also completions if they weren't interfered with, especially the one to Mason. And I don't think he really was fitting into that. I think fitting on too much. I think it was a good place to throw the ball. I will say that I was able to watch the all 22s, and I think that he definitely, his decision making was quick at times. Had he waited a beat more, he would have hopefully seen either Vinny over the middle of the field or something like that. There were better passes for him out there, but that's going to happen in the first time you're playing with an offense. Yeah. And he was under pressure. There were a couple times where he made quick throws because Davis Heinzen's guy was in his front grill. I mean, so I thought the way he commanded the offense, I thought the poise he had, the presence he had out there, leadership, like it was all visible to me. And you're absolutely right. It was improving. It was getting better. If Billy Edwards stays in that game, we win 31-0. That's just my opinion. I think they would have got rolling. I think we're in a very, very different discussion if he's in there the whole game.
Yeah. Will Hanna here. I'm with Ryan. Neither QB played well against the opposition. We're not saying he played well. We're saying he played fine, which to me is, I think it wasn't good. Well. It wasn't bad. It was just, this felt like you had the first couple of plays where you're trying to figure out what's going on in the game and you want to move faster. I think that he would have gotten better as the game went on. And I think we would have felt pretty good by the end of the game. We didn't get that opportunity. So it doesn't matter. Like I can't speak it into existence. I just think that we've seen plenty of QBs who are kind of rattled a little bit early, who settle in and then just start getting going. And I kind of feel like that's how this would have played out. I just think that they would have gotten more comfortable as a group as a whole, bar some of the offensive line play. I think even we saw some of that with regards to O'Neal. Like, he settled in after a period of time. I do think that we learned some quick lessons in that game, that the game plan clearly was not set up for him. because a lot of those throws to the far hash just can't be made by Danny O'Neil. He doesn't have the arm.
On the rewatch, the play calling obviously got a little more vanilla at times, and it was just kind of and I get that. Like you took roughly 15% of the snaps, so I mean that's fine. Now you're getting a whole week of Danny O'Neil. Overall, your thoughts on O'Neil and the performance from him?
I thought it was pretty good for a guy who probably didn't think he was going to play. I think some of the play calling, it's hard for me to say what all the routes were on some of this and if he was making the right decisions. I felt like if it was me, I probably would have had attacked the middle of the field more, given Danny was out there, because I just think that his arm is a better fit for that. But I don't know if they were packing things in the middle. I didn't make a conscious effort to note that at the time, and there might just have been too many bodies there for him to be throwing it over the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be clear on my thought on Billy overall. I'd see a lot of people in the chat. Look, I think that I was excited about Billy Edwards. I think he brings a whole new level of quarterback play to our team. I feel the same way about that. Like I'm good with the Billy Edwards. I'm happy about Billy Edwards. I hope he's healthy and can play because it's important, obviously. And I see him slowly gelling more with the receivers and getting more involved in Grimes' offense and learning that better and making those better reads. Like I'm good with him. I thought I liked what I saw out of him yesterday. And I think that to me is the biggest point. One question that we have here, this was another question that I'd gotten earlier in a text as well. Do you guys think his knee will be an all-season thing that affects him, Justin? What are your thoughts on this? Because knee injuries don't just kind of, go away.
I think it really depends on the severity of it. If this was more precautionary, which I gotta believe, if it was bad, they would have probably not let him be out there on his feet for the remainder of the game. That to me tells me that they were like, all right, we don't want you going back in because if there's a chance you could injure it further, but it's not so severe that, if we had to play you against in a bigger game, we wouldn't. It's hard for me to say on that. Like, would they send him back out there and take their chances if it was less of a, if it was a bigger game? I don't know.
I mean, I'm hoping so. I think I've a sense that if it was like a playoff game, like he would have played, but I mean, I don't know. Like you're right. Its severity is important. I've not playing football, but in other sports, I've had like knee sprains before, and it is something that lingers. It lingers until I get it playing volleyball, and I feel like when my volleyball season's over, it goes away after a few weeks, but it lingers. Now the thing is, he's been practicing, right? He played, even though he took some time off. He was hurt in camp. He still practiced. He's going to get real rest now. Like, he's not going to play next week. I mean, it would be complete shock if he played against Middle Tennessee. And frankly, I want Danny O'Neil to get those reps. I want him to be better so that if that happens again, he's more prepared. So he needs to play. But no, so I think that there's just overall, there's some good here that has to be, talked about, I guess, with him. But I think that it can definitely hurt him, but hopefully not super long term. Anything else on Billy's performance with the quarterbacks before we move on?
Yeah, I think people just need to realize we can't take a lot from the first three series of a game and extrapolate that out and say that somebody stinks or somebody is good based off of just that. Like, if he comes out and throws touchdowns on the first two drives, he could very well just have had a really good half and stink the rest of the year. The same way as he could go out the next game that he starts and throw 3 touchdown passes in the first half. It's really hard to know. I thought the receivers actually looked pretty good in this game for the most part. There were a couple of drops that I think were frustrating, but I felt like they were getting open, and I felt like the routes were pretty crisp.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I was able to watch a lot of the film, and I think that I also thought the receivers did well. I thought that got good separation, and I think that Vinny, obviously the time between Vinny and Billy is going to get better over time. There were certainly some misses, and they were bad throws by Billy. He had 2 poor throws to Vinny. But also Vinny could have caught one in the end zone. Yeah. He didn't adjust to it.
A deep out he should have had.
Yeah, and I think that there's definitely a few things here and there that they need to be cleaned up. But yeah, I also thought the receivers were good, and we're gonna talk about them when we grade them in a little bit. The last thing I would say is I think game plan, a full week of Danny O'Neil practicing and establishing game plan for him. I think he's got a weapon. His legs are a weapon, man. That's going to be really nice to have. We had that with Tana Mordecai, and it was really impressive at times. I just feel like this could be really good. He needs to stay healthy, but game plan for him. I'm excited to see what he does against Middle Tennessee, a team that lost badly yesterday to a bad team. So this will be interesting. All right, let's talk about something great. And that's the freaking defense, man. Like you talk about people that need flowers, and we're going to get to the offensive line next. That's obviously another thing, a lot to talk about there. Incredible performance by the defense, 17-0, full on shutout, 2 interceptions by Preston Zachman. Tackles for loss were in there, sacks were in there. And I don't care who you play, when you shut them out and you allow 117 yards to a MAC team. MAC is not like a complete joke of a conference. Those teams are pretty good. 117 yards and 0 points. What a performance by that defense, man. What a performance.
Yeah, and I honestly felt like they got a sack stolen from them, because I felt like Cheeks had one that wasn't accounted for.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah.
I think they called it no gain, but no gain is supposed to be a sack in my understanding. So, okay, whatever. But I thought the edges looked explosive, and I felt like they were a problem in this game. And I felt like the middle of the line actually played pretty good. They pushed the pocket. You had a quarterback that did not look comfortable, and I think we felt that about a guy who's comfortable being on the move, quite honestly. And we did a great job of making him not see the field well in this game, and I think that showed up. They've looked pretty good on all levels. Like, the linebacking group was effective in this game. I thought the defensive line was plenty good. So we'll see how this carries out as the season goes on, but you might have something you can lean on this season if this is the defense that we're going to see.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some individuals on that defense. I mean, Mason Reiger, he's a dude. We know that. Sebastian Cheeks, man. Sebastian Cheeks played with his hair on fire. He was my player, the defense. I know Zachman, obviously 2 picks, and that was amazing. And we'll talk about him too. But man, I thought Cheeks did a great job. But we have a pass rush, man. Like a pass rush that, as you said, is pretty dependable. I mean, and we were able to actually like clog up the line a little bit. We didn't get swallowed all the time. We were able to stop their run. You said on our 3 Big Things episode, make him throw the ball. Like, find a way to make him throw, and we did, and he obviously was pretty bad. So I think that, like, we did a lot of things defensively, but the most important thing we did was disruption. That amazing word that we've talked about that we haven't been able to successfully and with any kind of regularity get in the last few years. We got disruption. Those ends are disruptive. Kudos to those guys. The defensive line went way deep. I mean, there was a lot of people that played on there, namely guys like Suggs and Barton and Lane, like really, really good play.
There's real depth there.
Defense. There is depth there because you have 6 or 7 guys, and we didn't really, I mean, there's a lot of people that didn't play. They only played a few snaps. But when you look at like
if you look at snap counts in this game, they're incredibly low. I think the top guys were in the 30s.
39.
Most of them were less. So it's very impressive to see them be able to shuffle guys in and out and keep guys fresh, which is going to be really important over the course of this season.
Ryan brought this up, but that was a great point on the reaction show. He said that the way the corners were up and coming up and hitting, right? Like everybody was aggressive. Austin Brown, obviously Zachman, but Agard, Hill, like, you know, Hallman missed a couple of reads, but I mean, I thought he was fine. Like there's just definitely a lot of players that played, frankly, they just played their ass off and it looked good. And without them, who knows what happens? Like that, if that translates to next week, we should shut out Middle Tennessee State or something close to it. And then
I don't anticipate we're going to be a problem for them defensively.
And then Alabama, like, I mean, who knows, man? Like, who knows what we can do with it?
I think we can compete.
Not playing
defensively. I think we can compete in that game.
We'll see. Like this was middle. I mean, like we'll see. We'll learn. Obviously,
I'm not saying we're going to win this game or even that it's going to be super close, but I think the defense can play with them. Is more my point. Like they're going to earn it. It's not going to be like they're going to just overwhelm us. Like they couldn't overwhelm a typically very undisciplined Florida State team. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. You have a comment up here that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. Hooded Athlete 6. Not sure if Danny Hill will be a liability, but he hits hard, which is awesome. I thought they both did, both him and Agard. And honestly, I'm more partial to Agard here. I actually thought he was a little bit better in coverage, but I'm totally fine with Hill being out there. It looks like he is quality depth, which is all we can really ask for on the outside. And I have to take a look at the snap counts again to see how if guys like Skanes and Scott got out there, but hopefully they got some reps too.
You know, I didn't see those guys on there. I didn't look too closely.
They might not have played. We didn't play that many defensive snaps.
that we did get Catalano and Posa out there, and Catalano missed the tackle pretty bad. But also, I'm surprised he played that early. I mean, it's fine to give him reps, but I was kind of like, oh.
I think it's a team that they didn't feel like he could hurt us too much for him to be out there.
Yeah. Christian Allegro, another good performance. Tackles weren't missed, plays were made. Like, remember what we have done in the past against dual threat quarterbacks. We didn't play that well against them. We struggled against dual threat quarterbacks, and we didn't really struggle with that. Like, he didn't burn us with his legs. We were able to successfully neutralize that threat, force him to throw, as you've mentioned, and 117 yards of offense is incredible. So you think this translates? You're feeling more comfortable about this defense than you were?
Oh yeah, before. I felt like we saw plenty of athleticism on the field. I think this is the most athletic defense we've seen in probably the last 3 or 4 years. And I felt like the interior of the line, I did not see guys getting pushed backward. I saw varying degrees of pushing forward from the interior guys, but I never saw anyone getting shoved back, which tells me that we've gotten bigger and stronger in the interior, and guys are holding up.
Yeah, it's great to see, man. It really is. Kudos to those guys. We don't spend a lot of time giving flowers to Mike Tressel, so I'm going to do that right now. Well done, sir. Well done, Mike Tressel. Well done to the entire defensive unit. If that is the kind of performance we can get, Miami of Ohio, people say that. I mean, people were texting me today, oh, Miami of Ohio, you can't count that. Who cares? I mean,
what if they so what if they end up being a MAC championship team?
It's still like that's you still shut out a team that absolutely is going to compete and has a quarterback that won the MAC MVP at Toledo a few years ago. Like, he is not a nothing quarterback, as we mentioned. Great job to the defense. Let's hope that continues. All right, let's go back the other way and let's talk about probably the biggest storyline, the offensive line. Question here from Marcus J on Twitter. Is the O-line fixable? Justin, being a film junkie, do you think Heinzen can take a step, or is this who he is and the Badgers need to adjust the rotation? So let's just start with that question, and then give me your whole take, Justin, on the offensive line and what happened yesterday.
I'm going to be quite honest. I haven't seen as bad of a performance since Jack Nelson at Washington State. That's the last time I saw somebody look completely overmatched. And with Nelson, it was at least some technique things that he was struggling with how they were setting stuff up. I don't think Heinzen has the physical tools to be able to deal with some of the athletes at this level. I thought the edge from Miami of Ohio was actually pretty good. I kind of was comparing him to a Riger light. Like, he's not quite that level, but similar build, and a guy who I thought played with a really high motor and was pretty athletic. But you cannot risk having a guy out there that's this much of a liability on that edge unless you're going to help him big time. And that's really going to handcuff you in terms of what you want to do from a game plan.
Man, it was kind of tough to watch, honestly, at times. Like, Davis Heinzen got just absolutely just burned. I mean, Billy Edwards was in some tough spots, as was Danny O'Neal, because of what was happening on the left side of that line. And it's got to be fixed like that. Now, I will say, after my rewatch, I do think that there were, especially on the run blocking stuff, there was some missed assignments. I think there's some, and I don't have a trained eye when it comes to looking at missed assignments. So you know way more of that than I do. But it sure looked to me like there can be some schematic improvements to the zone blocking scheme or just getting assignments. And there were a couple of blocking issues by the running backs, not getting the right read on who to block. So I do think there are improvements that can be coached and made with the offensive line. That being said, the talent, like the left tackle, I mean, I can't imagine that that's going to just be the same 5 guys that go out there again for Middle Tennessee State. I think that that's a discussion to talk about, like what that looks like. Is it Brunner? Is it Malman, or whatever happens? Someone, texted me earlier, somewhat close to the program, has suggested that maybe, Malman go to left tackle, and then Mandel go to right tackle, and then Cubberly come in at right guard. So there's options, Brunner going out, or just Nelson playing a full game and seeing if Nelson can be better. I mean, what's the fix in your opinion?
I would have to take another look. I thought Nelson came in was better once they brought him in late in the game. It's hard to tell how much of that was because the game was kind of winding down and they were kind of the defense just took a little bit of the edge off, us basically taking their engine away or their energy away by us taking advantage of that game. My gut instinct is you put Heinsohn back out there. If he's not significantly better this week, then you make the change mid-game, and you probably bring Kaneko in at left tackle or left guard, and you put Brunner out at tackle. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Brunner should be able to do that. And obviously better than what it was. It's just we just can't have that. Whether it's Danny O'Neil or Billy Edwards, they're gonna be running for their lives. Yeah. I mean, it was really bad. Like there were times where, like I said, it was hard to watch. I mean, it's just, and that's not a typical Wisconsin offensive line. But I do think there are some improvements that can be made, and they have to be made if we're going to be successful at all. Because I mean, can you imagine an Alabama or a Michigan or an Iowa defensive end going up against our left tackle? Like, yikes! It's not pretty. So you think Heinz starts next week and then he gets a chance?
I think that's ideally what they're hoping to see is him compete a little bit more. I thought part of the issue was just he didn't compete. Like we've seen guys that don't belong at tackle be effective at tackle before. The NFL does it all the time. Guys that you wouldn't necessarily look at from a physical tool standpoint and say he's not really what you'd look for at that spot, but he's somehow finds a way to get the job done. Heinsohn, that's what you got to do. You're not perfect for this position, but you got to figure out a way to be effective, and you just weren't. And it looked like you weren't even competitive. So you got to figure out a way to disguise your limitations or whatever, but you've got to find a way to be more effective than what you were, or you need to be replaced. And my gut instinct is, if I'm going to be completely honest on this, I think it's likely that he ends up being replaced.
Steelbird JT says left tackle should be the best O-lineman on your team. What are your thoughts on the Mahlman? Let's say, I mean, for the sake of discussion, the best tackle on the team is Riley Mahlman. I feel like that's clear. The best tackle. So what are your thoughts on Mahlman going over to the left? I mean, we talked about this a little in 10-minute text, but I want your thoughts on that.
I would be very curious. It's a possibility. I don't know how they feel about him at left tackle. I don't think he's ever repped there. Now, maybe he did earlier in his career. I'm not against it. I just really struggle with I don't like kind of changing up the entire line to do this. And maybe that's okay because we weren't great the first week anyways. So if you switch 3 positions and maybe Kaneko goes into right guard and you put Mandel out at right and keep Brunner where he's at, I mean, I guess you can make that argument. There's a possibility there because Kanenko's already repped plenty at right guard. Mandel, it would be the one that I would question because I'm not sure how much right tackle he's repped over the course of the end of spring and fall camp. And that would be my question there is, does he hold up or did we just shift the problem to the right side?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very fair. The last thing I'll say on the O-line is that, everybody who watched that game, especially us as fans, like we know what the issue was. Everyone who watched that game, who watches football knows the offensive line was an issue. And they know it too. And offensive linemen seem like pretty proud, large men who don't want to F up. And I feel like that line, they're hearing it from AJ Blazek, from Coach Jeff Grimes. Like there's a lot of, we've been pretty high on the talent as far as the coaching. Actually, someone brought that up. I don't know where that question came from, but let's talk about it real quick. Blazek and Grimes. Do you think that how do you think they fix this as far as like coaching stuff? And then does it give you any lack of confidence in Blazek anymore? I mean, obviously the recruiting, not necessarily, but in the coaching, are you concerned?
It's hard for me to say. Like he's had some pedigree at other locations. It's got to get better than this. I do feel like there's some talent in that room. I need to see a higher level of play than this because I think there's enough bodies in that room. And let's be honest here. Things are different if you have Haywood at left tackle. He's a significant upgrade at that position. I think we would all view as a plus player. I still think he's young, but I think that he's a guy who has all the upside in the world. And then you're effectively just looking at one guy who is basically making his first real starts in Mandel at right guard. Fine. Like I don't expect any of the young guys to be perfect. I do think they have some very high level of talent. So these are why you schedule games like this. It gives guys film. in real live reps against a team that's actively trying to truly beat them and game plan them, now you get a chance to make those guys better. And that's what I view about this team as a whole right now. We had a rough offensive first week. We need to see better this next week. And I think that that's the biggest deal is you get an opportunity now to say, all right, we've got some areas where we looked really rough. This is what's got to get better. You now have a list of things to look at, which is not you playing against your own defense anymore.
Yeah. Practice is not a game. It's always different. And we all know that. You never played sports, you know that. Like it's just,
and you're not game planning each other.
Right. It's just totally different. So this guy taking back kind of like the full circle of me, when I said at the beginning of the show, like Badger fans, for me, I'm just like, I'm calm about it. And I think the reason is because I know that there's coachable issues on the offensive line. I'm not concerned about 4 linemen outside of the left tackle. I'm not worried about Brunner. I'm not worried about Renfro, Malman, even Mandel. Like Mandel started. Like I'm not worried about those guys. What I'm worried about is left tackle. And if we can get that fixed on that, and I understand that means that maybe it's Nelson, maybe it's Heinzen, maybe it's Brunner, and then I'm worried about the left a little more because left guard. But I do think some of the issues in the run blocking scheme on my sort of rewatch of the film, I actually think that can be fixed. Some of it, like it can be fixed. There's coaching, there's schematic stuff, there's zone schemes that I think people just missed. Just my opinion. I'm not a trained eye on it at all, but I do feel comfortable with that. So like, if the left tackle gets solved, I think that I'm not feeling like the offense is in that bad of a place. I know it was a bad performance. I hear you. Everyone's saying it. We could be okay here. All right. Like we could be okay. It's first game stuff. Anything else on the game before we get into some positional grades to wrap up the show, Justin?
Here, I'm just going to push back on Badger and Bournemouth here real quick. We didn't run block well at all. I don't necessarily agree with that. The 2 top backs were both over 5 yards a carry. Now, did they get as much push as we would have liked to have seen in the run game? Definitely not. We'd like those guys to be clean longer. And I think that they would have probably been 6, 7, 8 yards a carry, consistently. And that will get better with time. But I don't think that they were terrible in the run blocking. I don't think that they were great, but I don't think that they were bad. Like, especially for some of these guys in a new scheme being at their first game, I felt like it could have been far worse. Your running backs were effective in this game. So I do think that it's going to get better moving forward as guys kind of get more comfortable and get live reps against another team. I think they're going to run really well against Mid-Tennessee State because I just think Mid-Tennessee State's terrible. But I think it's really good for the confidence of this team.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Badger Bournemouth on this. I don't think we run block that well. Like, I think there were a lot of issues, but I think it's all fixable issues.
I don't think it was. My point was I don't think it's terrible. Like, I thought it wasn't good. It wasn't bad. Like, bad would have been you would see guys getting hit in the backfield and losing yards. And we saw a lot of that the last couple of years where guys would get hit in the backfield and we'd have 4 yards, 1 carry, and then the next one you'd lose 1. We didn't have that last night. I felt like guys were consistently getting at least enough room that they could bounce off and keep going for 4 or 5 yards.
Yeah. I just think that they can be better and they will be better. Doc brings up a good point, which I was going to also bring up. Remember, run blocking scheme is not only on the O-line. The running back has to make reads and cut as well. And I will say this, I'm happy with Dylan Jones as a talent. I think we're going to get into this when they talk the running backs, but like the vision could have been better there. Like they're definitely, that's his first game. First start. Yeah. Like but that will improve. Like one of the first plays of the game, he missed a wide open hole. You texted immediately. You're like, just wide open hole that he missed. And there were a couple of decisions that he made cutting that could have been improved, but that'll all get better. So I think that's fair. All right, Justin, let's go. We'll talk more about each position now. We've kind of talked about the game overall a little bit. So let's do positional grades. Quarterback, we've talked about it a lot, but what's your overall grade on quarterback? We don't need to really talk more about it though, because we've beaten
I would say it's probably a C-. I thought both guys were their works in progress, and it shows. I don't think either one of them played overly well, but I think they could have played a lot worse. Yeah, they minimized turnovers for the most part. They did make some positive plays. I felt like the receivers were pretty good, so it could have been far worse passing than what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's like a B- for me overall. Like I'm a little higher on them. I think I give Danny O'Neil a lot of credit. Like that's really tough to come in there and play like that. He had to play the majority of the game, took the majority of the throws. So yeah, it's a tough situation to be in there. Running backs, what's your grade on them?
I think I would probably give them a B minus. I felt like they ran really hard, and I felt like they were pretty effective despite the fact that, yeah, their vision wasn't great. I do anticipate that getting much better this next week. I think that this is what happens where you get a week of film where guys can kind of hopefully slow down a little bit. Because I think that as a whole, the offense needs to slow down and learn to function. And if the offensive line plays better, everything will come together from an offensive standpoint more. They have to trust and believe that they're going to be able to go through the actual play design. Mm-hmm. And I think that was part of the issue in week 1, why we weren't necessarily as crisp. We need to be able to give at least 3 seconds so that they can get the ball out in the timing of the play is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I'm going to give running backs a B. Thought it was fine. I mean, nothing to write your home about. No breaks, but also some issues here and there. But yeah, I think it was overall just fine. Wide receivers, Justin, I'll go first on this one. I thought the wide receivers did fine. I'm gonna go B plus, A minus, kind of right in that. I'll officially say A minus because I think that I didn't leave thinking, oh, the receivers had a bad game. No, I think the receivers had a fine game. The only real issue was I think there was certainly Vinny had a catchable ball, deep ball, but I think. Overall, I liked the routes that they were running. I had no real issue with them. I think that they got open, they worked hard. I thought they made catches. They weren't involved that much in the game overall. So totally fine with it. I'm saying A minus.
They're a B minus for me. I thought that there were a couple of drops, but I felt like they played well. There were some crisp routes. I thought we were consistently seeing guys open to make plays, which is something we haven't seen a whole lot of lately. Hilton looked great. I feel like he's going to push. He looks like a guy who's going to make plays. And I think that that's something that this offense needs. But he's a guy that I trust once he catches the ball, he's going to make a play on somebody and make somebody miss. So I look forward to seeing him get more time. For the most part, I thought Ballard played pretty well. I thought Brooks was solid as a receiver. It was something I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I know he had a couple catches in this game. But he at least didn't look like a total liability as a receiver out there.
Okay. O-line, what's the grade?
I'm C minus on it with an F to Heinzen. So I felt like the rest of the team was like a C, and I felt like he was the worst I've seen since, like I said, Nelson against Washington State. But I don't think anyone else was terrible. I felt like they were just very average, and I would have liked to have seen it be improved.
Yeah, it's a straight D for me, and I could go lower. Sure. I think the O-line was they're just poor. Look, I mean, and we're guys who always give the O-line a ton of credit. O-line doesn't get enough credit for anything, but this is just not one of those games. I'm sorry. I love them all. I'm very pro O-line, but this was a bad performance. Okay. Tight ends, anything? Give me your tight end. We didn't really talk too much about the tight ends. Anything you want to mention?
Honestly, that's probably a C minus for me too, but a special grade for Steck. You get B plus, big guy. That was a really good performance for a redshirt freshman tight end to go out there and make some nice plays when I don't think anybody expected him to do much of anything in this game.
Yeah, I think overall that's a B kind of for me, maybe B plus. I think they've been fine. Okay. Steck. Not always the best.
See more out of Mason.
Yeah, I mean Mason, I think we're fine. Like again, first game, I'm not worried about it. I think it's okay, and I think he's going to be a receiving threat. I think that to me is clear. He's going to be a weapon. He's going to be a safety valve for Billy Edwards / Danny O'Neal. So I have no issue there. Defensive side of the ball. Let's start with the D line. So we'll do edge and outside linebackers separately. So this is just the D line. What's your grade?
Do you by offhand know what the yards per carry were for them?
Something like 1.8.
They get A plus. So we were incredible with a team with a running quarterback, and we held him completely in check. And part of that was the defensive line was effectively kind of a brick wall. Like they did not give ground. They did not really give any rush lane or running lanes for him to break free and get loose. I felt like they were great in this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm with you on A plus. I would say A. They get an A.
It could have been more disruptive. I understand.
They could have been a little more disruptive. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't think it was bad, but yeah, I'm just checking that. yards per carry number. And I think it was pretty bad.
1.9 sounds right. I thought I heard that somewhere else too.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, yeah, I don't know. It's not 1.5.
Here. You feel better now? Or do they need to be negative for an A+ for you?
Listen, not today. It's an A. I think the D-line did fine. The D-line did totally fine. I thought it was good. I like the rotations. Clearly Barton and listen, I want to give Ben Barton some credit here. Okay. Ben Barton is a guy that
I was very hard on him last year.
He's not the sexy guy, the sexy pick that we talk about when we talk about the D-line. He's not. All he's done is just show up year after year, by the way, and just play well and play hard and improve. He took a step. He got, I think, maybe the most snaps yesterday from the D-line. Kudos to him. So good job, Ben Barton. I'm looking forward to what those guys can do. Brandon Lane, Suggs, they played really well. Edge, outside, A+. It's not close. Mason Reiger, Daryl Peterson, Sebastian Cheeks. Yeah. Fantastic job. This is exactly the kind of pass rush and disruption that this team has desperately needed for a few years. Make this happen. Keep doing this. I absolutely love it. If they play with that kind of motor, this is going to be a very special group.
Didn't I hear that Clayton had one snap and he almost got a sack on it?
I know he got a snap, but I honestly don't remember the play or remember what he did.
I think Osen told me that he got one snap and almost had a sack. I'm like, that sounds about right. He just got shot out of the blocks. Like that's the way that dude plays.
Yeah, that's right. And clearly people are agreeing with you. So yes, that's great. I mean, fantastic. So happy with this girl. I'm assuming it's an A+ for you.
Yeah, it's absolutely an A+ for me. I mean, I'm doing that through the lens of last season. I felt like if you're playing a team with a more stationary quarterback, we probably have 5 sacks in this game. Like the fact that Finn could move was probably what kept them from just teeing off in this game.
Yeah, we missed a couple of opportunities on Finn, but he's elusive. Like he's an athletic guy. Let's give him credit.
He's a plus runner for sure.
Yeah. So, but dude, these guys are awesome. I literally, one of the first things I said on the reaction show was, do we have a pass rush? Like how many times have we begged for a freaking pass rush?
Reiger looks really good. His motor is so high.
Reiger looks like he's trying to be a Watt out there. He's just like, man, he's playing. Ooh, I'm excited about that guy. Okay, linebackers. Any thoughts?
I thought that Tackett was solid. I thought Allegro was really good in this game. So to me, I give them an A-. I would have liked to have seen maybe a couple extra negative plays, just stuffing around or whatever. But I thought that they were all over the field. I thought their explosiveness showed at the middle linebacker position. They were very quick to the ball. So I felt like they played great. That Allegro one where Finn broke the pocket and he came out, and I was just like, "Oh, you're dead." And he just came up and lit him up, and I'm like, "Yep, that's not the guy you want to try to out athlete."
That got me up out of my seat. That play, loved it because obviously you know how I feel about CA. He's so good. Yeah, I mean A-. I actually totally agree with you on that. We didn't see as much as we could have out attack it, but listen, no issue there. All right, so let's go safeties. I want to save quarterbacks for the last. Safety, to me, just A+. Like again, Zachman and Brown just owned it back there, man.
They work really well together.
So good.
I think the fact that you have such a good athlete in Brown allows Zachman to kind of play center field a little bit more in ball hawk. So I really like them in tandem. I think that they're both good, and obviously Brown is a great athlete, but I think they're both a problem in the middle of the field. Like they're going to be a handful most of this season. So I'm really looking forward to see what they are, but they are, to me, they were, AA+, either one, fine. Like I thought they had a great game. Obviously they really locked it down in the second half once they got comfortable, and Miami of Ohio couldn't do anything. They couldn't throw the football. They couldn't run. We basically shut them down every time they got the ball.
I mean, the thing that excites me the most about next week's game is seeing this defense play again. Like I'm really happy about that. Like I desperately want to have a good defense again. And it's just nice to see, man. Okay. Cornerbacks. We talked a little bit about Deani Hill earlier. We talked about some of that, but I want your overall grade and also just kind of your thoughts, like Rico, decent game. And then Agard, Hill, Latimer. What were your thoughts overall?
I honestly thought that Rico had the weakest game of the three.
Yeah.
Like I felt like he could have been more physical. I think he gave a little too much cushion at times. The other two guys were playing super physical and were not afraid to come up and absolutely light up. Like they caused a couple of incompletions simply because of their physicality. And I think that was a big deal. As I said earlier, I like Agard better as a coverage corner, and I think that he's a better athlete than Hill. So I would like to see that skew more in the Agard range for that one. But I understand splitting them a little bit so that you're not necessarily putting him on an island in his first start. Like I want him to have some ability to come out and coach him a little bit between sets and kind of be able to be like, all right, this is what you're seeing and everything like that, and kind of move back and forth. I think both are good enough to play. Hill's quality depth, he's a little more limited than Agard, but I thought Agard acquitted himself really well for a first start.
Yeah, very happy with those guys overall. And I think it's that kind of game that will really boost their confidence, especially the young guys, right? Like Agard needed that, and he's ready to play. And I also give it Latimer. Like we never heard his name called, like he played, but so again, it's just like they're good performances.
He's a plus starter in the slot. Like we got him. I'm glad we have him for 2 years. I think he has a chance to be really good. You have Will's, grade there in corners. I would say the corners. I mean, we gave up less than barely over 100 total yards to this team. I have to give them an A. Like they were great.
Yeah, agreed.
The defense as a whole deserves, an overall grade of an A.
Special teams. We'll parse this up a little bit. I want to just say that I thought Nathaniel Vakos' kick was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it would have been good from 60 yards. It was just that if that kind of a kick, like I always get so nervous with Wisconsin kickers now.
Anything over 40 yards, he has struggled with.
But boy, that kick was great. And I'm not saying it was the super long, but it's just like that's the kind of boot that we always need to see from him. Atticus didn't have his best game. Had a couple. I think he totally shanked the first punt. I'm pretty sure if that was the first one. Special teams as far as reception, like punt fielding from Tyrell Henry, great job, really really good job. That's always another fearful moment for me for for fielding punts. That looked good overall. B for special teams because I thought Atticus didn't have his best game, but that's okay. I think overall the unit did fine.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look at this. I thought that it was good to see Vakos come out strong, bar the botched punt that went 20 yards.
That's exactly
the defense suffocated instantly. I think that's why you'd probably give them a B. Other than that, I felt like they were an A. Yeah. Like that one bad punt was enough to kind of bring it down a grade because in a bigger game that could cost you.
I think all of Atticus's punts could have been a little bit better. Like he had some good ones. I'm just saying that there was really one bad one, but then I guess all of them weren't up to my sort of standards now of him. But yes, hooded athlete, no drop punt returns. absolutely. That was great. Very well.
No kickoffs out of bounds.
Yes.
We got one day since 1 week since the last time that's happened, or whatever. Like that thing they put up in job sites for injuries.
Yeah.
We need to put that up on the wall for kicks out of bounds.
Gosh,
1 week streak.
Coaching. What are you giving the coaching grade?
I think it's A for defense and probably a C minus for offense. Like they weren't clean on offense. I expect them to be better. This is an intricate offense. There's a lot of eye candy and stuff like that. So let's calm down. We've seen teams like this. Iowa does this all the time where they look like trash the first couple weeks and they grow into it so that they're at least a competent offense. I don't think we're ever looking at this team as having like a powerhouse offense. What we want them to be is, can they at least hold up their end of the bargain where they can be solid enough so that the defense isn't just killing themselves trying to keep us in games because the offense can't do anything. So my perspective on it is your C minus this first week. Let's see if we can get it to a C plus or B minus next week and keep moving up from there. But I think obviously we'd like to see them go lights out in this next week and dominate.
As far as coaching for me, I think that overall the play calling for Billy, I thought was fine. I thought it was good. I have no issue with it. Again, I think Billy could have made different throws in times, but Heinzen frankly didn't give enough time to really survey the field and to pick the better route after watching some back. But yeah, I mean, I think it was fine. The scheme overall, I think was good. I like the scheme that I saw last night
I do too. I felt it was coherent. I understood what they were trying to do. I think if run blocking was better in this game, we probably win this running away. That's something that will get better as time goes on. We need to remember, like I said, one of the interior guys is young. I expect Mandel to be much better as the season goes on. He's going to get more comfortable being out there. We got a lot of young guys that are out on the field this year, and that's going to be a factor in some of this stuff getting better and a lot of new pieces in general. Let's not be too hasty with 1 week. I'm not saying that you let it go. As Ryan always says, it's a data point. We need to see it be improved and get another data point that makes us feel better about things going forward. I think they're capable of I don't think we saw their best and that this is just what this is at this point. I think there's a lot of meat left on the bone for this team to work on and get better with. And I do think, I will say this flat out, I think there's enough room in that offensive line room, enough talent, that if this is what Heinzen is, you will replace him with somebody and they'll find a way to make it work. But they won't just sit on him and keep tossing him out there if this is what they're getting from him. No,
I mean, obviously not. You can't. You're gonna break the quarterback's health is going to be in major jeopardy if that happens. As far as Fickell overall, I think that I will give Fickell an overall credit to the culture and the sort of the toughness that they put into play in camp and things like that. That showed more on the defense, not necessarily the offensive line, but I think like there was a clear focus that Fickell had to improve our ability to look like a cohesive, competent defense, and they did that. So kudos to those guys for that. But yeah, overall, I think it was fine. When you waste second half timeouts, I'm always going to give you crap. I don't understand it. I really don't. The second one, I know he had to for field position there near the goal line, but the first one was complete wreck. Don't put yourself in those situations. You have to be better about that.
Especially where we came back in the play we ran.
Right. And
I didn't love the play.
Yeah.
Like, I know I love deception. I think you need to just, like I told Ryan on that play, I'm like, why don't you just leak out the backside tight end like everybody does in this situation? And he's always standing there wide open in the end zone. Mm-hmm. Let's just go into 12 and run him out the backside. Like it probably would have been
open. There. He wasn't open and it was a horrible throw. It wasn't, he was never open. It was just, even if you throw, if you're going to throw that, throw the only place where he can get it. But yeah, I mean, but overall, so the timeout thing, I will say going for fourth down in general, like I liked that. I didn't think we needed to kick for three there. I was fine going for fourth. The play call I did not like, but go for fourth. It didn't bother me. You have a comment up here you wanted to hit?
Yep. Will Hannah with Edwards, I still have us going at 6-6. I need to see more of these other teams play. I was not overly impressed with a lot of the teams that we thought were going to be problems on our schedule. Alabama looks far more gettable than I was expecting them to look. I will say Ohio State, we'll see what that offense looks like. The defense looks like it's plucky. The offense,
we're not going to move the ball against Ohio State, dude.
Well, we'll see. I mean, how good was Texas? I mean, we're going to find out going forward. This is why we need to see more weeks and just see what everything is, because a lot of these teams, there was a point in the Iowa game against Albany, they were down 7-3. Now they ended up eventually taking that game over, but you're playing an FCS school. You better be able to win that game 34-7 or whatever it was. I didn't think Gronowski looked good in that game at all. And I wasn't high on him to begin with, but Iowa's going to be gettable to me. Michigan was okay. I do think that quarterback is going to obviously have more room for growth than most because of the fact that he's a true freshman. But I think you look at it and you're kind of like, yeah, this isn't necessarily like he's not going to be lights out probably his first year. Same thing with Maryland. I didn't realize Maryland was starting a true freshman. Malik Washington started for them. He looked really good in that game against FAU, but FAU's defense is not our defense. And if the defense that played today plays against him, he's going to give us the ball a couple of times.
Yeah, Malik Washington did look good. I talked about him with we did a Know Your Foe Maryland
thing. We were going after him, weren't we, for a while?
I feel like maybe, yeah.
I thought we were in on him early, and we ended up backing off eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are some teams that played better. I mean, certainly. But there's also teams that didn't play very well, like Iowa, as you mentioned, and Alabama's potential. Michigan looked pretty good. But, the schedule is still pretty bad. But let's just get to 3-1. That's kind of the big stopping point. And I think Maryland is the big thing there. Like, if we can beat Maryland, if Billy's healthy, I'm not worried about that game. If Billy's healthy, and I might not be if Danny's healthy. I just don't know. I haven't seen enough of Danny O'Neil. I'm very eager to see a full game week of Danny O'Neil. That's going to be interesting because the play calling will be far better next week.
What I'm going to say right now, Neza, is Maryland is not good. I think they played a bad FAU team, and FAU's been bad mostly for a while. What I will say about this team is if this continues and this defense is this next week, I think we're gonna have a shot in every game. If the offense can do some things right, we're going to be able to be competitive in every game we play. And I do think that we probably, in most games, are going to have the better defense.
Washington played Colorado State, and I thought that they were the better team, but Colorado State hung with them for quite a while in that game. And I thought it was pretty close.
Yeah.
But they are better. There's no doubt Washington is better. That's clear. Will Hannah, I still think Iowa may be the key game of the season. For sure.
I think that is for sure because that's the measuring stick game for us this year.
Yeah. Look, we're 1-0. I know it's not what everyone wanted to see as far as obviously our quarterback going down, and I will stand by this. If Billy doesn't get hurt in that game, it's 31-0 at least. I firmly believe that, and I don't think it's close. I think we're having a very different discussion here today. Yes, the O-line would still have been a topic of conversation, but I think he would have in that state, even with that line, we would have won 31-0. So, Justin, final thoughts before we close the show. We'll be back again for Know Your Foe this week on Not Know Your Foe. 3 big things for Middle Tennessee State. And definitely, again, Friday, check Saturday Locks episode. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I think we came away from this game with more questions on offense and feeling good about the defense. If this is what the defense is going to be this year, like I said, they're going to give us an opportunity in most of our games. The offense needs to start answering some of those questions. You got to figure out the offensive line. If you can get that figured out, I think there's talent that we can run a competent offense, which will be more than we've seen in the last, 3 years, maybe since 2021. So let's see if we can't get this going.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. We'll see a lot this week, but we'll see. By the way, it's still 0-0 in the Notre Dame-Miami game. So if Miami covers that, I'll be 4-0. Yes. It's always good to start off the season undefeated in your betting because it makes your percentage not look nice and then takes a while to come back down, which is nice. But I'm just happy football's back, man. Really, really happy football's back. And we'll be back midweek to talk about Middle Tennessee State. We'll be back again next weekend to review what hopefully is like a 55-0 victory.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be really good. We could all use that and a much better performance from the offensive line. Thanks for joining us, as always, on Wisconsin.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bucky Report or The Bucky Report Podcast from wherever you get your content. Until next time, on Wisconsin.